How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 62 of Uncut, we are going to be giving you guys our possible breakout candidates at each position heading into training camp. We're going to be discussing going down the Bears' depth chart, discussing some possible players that are going to break out in training camp and possibly can surprise us and possibly gain themselves a bigger role heading into the season. Obviously, we do know that there's no preseason, so the training camp means that much more these next couple of weeks. So let's just hop right into it. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I'm joined with my co-hosts, Parth Shaw and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, fellas?
Going good. You know, it's actually gotten a little cold here in Illinois recently. The last couple of days, it's like fall weather, so I've been enjoying a little cold wave, I guess.
Same here. I'm getting ready to pack and come home. I've been in Arizona way too long, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, let's hop right into it. So a lot to discuss today. Training camp just getting underway. A lot of COVID tests going down. The only Bears that have opted out right now are Eddie Goldman and Jordan Lucas. The Bears have trimmed their roster down to 80 otherwise, so let's just hop right into it. There's not much to discuss with the quarterback position. We've talked about it so much heading into this, and I'm sure that we're going to do another 53-man roster position soon, or roster prediction soon. So we won't discuss the quarterback position for today. We're going to start at the running back position. The Bears currently have 4 rostered running backs on their 80-man roster: David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Ryan Null, and Artavis Pierce. Jaylen, I want to start with you. I think the answer is a little bit obvious for this one, but which running back do you think can possibly surprise us here at training camp?
Artavis Pierce. I mean, he's the only person that we really don't know what to expect from. David Montgomery, we know we're going to get out of him coming into his second year. Hopefully, he gets better as a running back with this improved O-line, or hopefully the O-line is improved. Tariq Cohen, this is his, 4th year. We know that he's a scat back. He's a do-it-all, can catch. Great running back, very fast. And then Ryan Null, he's more like a fullback. But his speed can definitely catch you off guard. So really, only person that might surprise is Artavis Pierce here, being a UFA. He just got activated off the COVID-19 list / reserve list. So hopefully he can come in here and show his worth to be in the NFL, especially without any preseason.
Yeah, I'm personally going to go with Ryan Null. He's someone who's growing accustomed to this organization. The Bears only averaged 3.7 rushing yards per attempt in 2019. It ranked 30th in the league. Not the greatest. Montgomery averaged 3.7 yards per rush as a rookie, and Cohen averaged career lows of 3.3 yards per rush. And Null only rushed twice last year. I think he's someone who can be more accustomed to being that third down back. I've spoke highly of him in the past. I like the way he runs. He runs downhill, and he doesn't go down. Similar to David Montgomery in a sense, but that being said, if Montgomery needs a breather, I'm cool with Ryan Null coming in 2020. So I think he's ready to take that next step, and if he doesn't, I guess we'll see what's next for him. But I think Ryan Null can come in and surprise some people in 2020. So, Parth, I want to pass it to you. Which of these 4 running backs do you think can surprise some people in 2020 and during training camp?
I might have to agree with you and go with Ryan Null as well. I mean, I think he's been on the roster this is his 3rd season with the Bears. I think the Bears trust him enough to be our running back 3. There was a lot of free agent running backs that the Bears could have signed this year, but they decided to stick with Ryan Null. And I could see him having a big year, especially he reminds me of like something that the Patriots did with Rex Burkhead. A little weird comparison, but I feel like if the Bears could use him something like that, it could definitely work out. Never have too many weapons, especially if Montgomery and Tariq Cohen struggle like they did last year. Ryan Null could be a decent splash into the offense.
Absolutely. Now we're going to head on to the wide receiver position, where the Bears are very loaded, are going to have some tough decisions to make heading on into the end of training camp. Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Javon Wims, Cordero Patterson, Ted Ginn, Darnell Mooney, and then 2 interesting ones, Thomas Ives, I'm not really sure if he's on the roster still, and Ahmad Wagner, an undrafted free agent. So some interesting options there. I think I know who Jaylen's going to say, though, and I forgot to mention also Riley Ridley, also on the roster as well. So, Jaylen, I want to start with you. Which wide receiver do you expect is going to surprise us here in training camp?
I think I know who you think I'm gonna say, but I'm not gonna say him. I'm going with Riley Ridley.
Okay.
Is that who you thought I was gonna say?
No, I thought you were going to say Wims.
Okay, but I'm going with Riley Ridley. Coach Fury. What's his
Furry.
last name?
Furry.
Yeah, our wide receiver coach is a big fan of him. He said he's a big fan of Riley Ridley and expects him to do big things in this upcoming season. I'm gonna go with him. I feel like he's gonna get the same amount of rep. Or we're gonna use him how we did Javon, like in his rookie season as a 7th-round draft pick. He didn't get that many reps, and then last year, which was Javon Williams' second year, he got increased role into the offense. So I feel like that's what we're gonna do with Javon. I mean, not Javon Riley, excuse me. Great route runner. He's Calvin Ridley's little brother, but they're two different wide receivers. He's not as fast as his brother is, but he's a very good route runner, and I expect him to do big things in this offense with Mitch or Foles, whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, Riley Ridley. Definitely someone who deserves some more targets heading down the road. Coach Furry did say himself that he's going to surprise some people. My answer was going to be Riley Ridley as well, but I'm going to go with a different one just to spruce things up a bit. I'm going to go with Ted Ginn Jr. A lot of people are level-headed on Ginn either making the roster or not making the roster, but I'm confident that he can do it here, even though he has been in the league since 2007. That being said, an incredible career for Ginn up to this point. Has been a journeyman for sure, 409 career receptions, 5,700 yards, and 33 touchdowns. Personally, I just think he's still got it. I think he's still got the burners. I think he can work well in Matt Nagy's offense. He's a grizzled veteran who can step in and teach some of these younger guys a couple things, I would hope, guys like Darnell Mooney. And I think Ted Ginn's ready to play. And Matt Nagy really wanted him here in Chicago, and I'm glad that he's here. So I'm going to go with Ted Ginn Jr. What do you think, Parth? What wide receiver can step out here in training camp and really put themselves above the rest?
So I was going to go with Ridley, and then Jaylen said him, and I was thinking about Ginn, and then you went with Ginn. So I guess I'll have to switch it up, and I'll go with Javon Wims here. I think Wims had a pretty decent year, you could say, last year. I mean, he was a little down, but you can't expect much out of a 7th-round pick. But I feel like with more reps and with more time under this offense, I think he's only going to get better. He has very high potential. He's big. He's exactly what we need. It's opposite of Allen Robinson. And whoever the quarterback is, I think they need to start throwing to Wims more. I think last year Trubisky started to target him a little bit more at the end of the year. And we all know that he struggled basically all year, but especially in the beginning of the year, Trubisky was pretty much horrible. So if the offense can start off well, especially at the quarterback position, and get Javon his targets, I think he's due for a big season this year.
Absolutely. Javon Wims definitely another one who's going to be fighting to make this roster, but also has some good experience behind him. Next, we're going to head to the tight end position, one of the most controversial here in Chicago. I've got 4 listed here on ESPN's depth chart. Obviously, it's bigger, but you look at the main couple. It's going to be Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, Demetrius Harris, Jesper Horsted, and J.P. Holt. So I want you guys to pick one of those 5. I'm going to start off by saying I think Jesper Horsted actually takes a pretty big jump this training camp. It's a bold prediction. That being said, Horsted, someone who converted as a wide receiver from Princeton to a tight end in Chicago, I think he's going to be able to continue to learn how to thrive at that position under someone like a Clancy Barone. Horsted's someone who did get a lot of chances last year and was able to thrive when he did get those opportunities. I can't find his exact stats anywhere on here on ESPN's site, but that being said, had an incredible catch against the Lions that helped us win that game on Thanksgiving. Horsted, someone who I just think hasn't fully stepped into his full potential as a tight end. He had 8 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown last year, averaged 10.9 yards per catch. I think he's still got a lot of upside. So out of those 5 guys I mentioned, I think we all agreed that those are the 5 tight ends that we would predict would make the roster. I'm going to go with Jesper Horsted as the one to surprise us most in training camp. You look at the rest of the guys. Jimmy Graham can do his thing. Cole Kmet's still pretty raw, and I think he's another good candidate to pick here. But that being said, I'm going to go with Horsted, someone who still has a lot to prove in Chicago. Jaylen, what do you think at the tight end position?
I'm going to go with Cole Kmet here, but I definitely agree with Jesper Horsted. I'm a big fan of him. But I'm going to go with Cole just based off the fact that he was our highest draft pick at a position of need. Coming into training camp, I think he's already going to get majority of the starting reps opposite Jimmy Graham. He's a big body wide receiver, very athletic. Hopefully he's better than Adam Shaheen was, who they basically have the same body type, and just produce for us and be that end zone threat.
Absolutely. Komet's someone who hopefully can be the best tight end in his draft class. I'm saying hopefully because I think we all remember the last time the Bears selected a tight end high on, and we don't want to mention that guy's name anymore because he's no longer on the team. Good luck in Miami, buddy. Parth, I'm going to pass it to you, though. Which one of these tight ends do you think can surprise you?
I'm going to go with Jimmy Graham. I feel like he got a lot of hate when we first signed him, especially from Bears fans. Called him washed, called him old, saying he wasn't productive in Green Bay. But if you look at historically, Aaron Rodgers isn't the best guy to look at his tight ends. I mean, he doesn't throw to his tight ends much. And Jimmy Graham still outperformed all of our tight ends last year statistically, and he hasn't missed a game the last 2 years. Something the Bears need at that position was consistency, and that's what Jimmy Graham brings. So I feel like he'll be a great addition to this offense, and he also brings in that experience factor, which will also help Cole Kmet out and Jesper Horsted and JP Holtz, all the young guys that need that tutoring, you could say.
Absolutely. We have to speed it up a little bit here or else it's going to turn into a podcast. Obviously, this is uncut. But that being said, we're going to pick one offensive lineman that we think could surprise us in training camp. The starters, we've got Charles Leno Jr., James Daniels, Cody Whitehair, Jermaine Fetty, and Bobby Massey. Some of the reserves as well. Highlight some people like Alex Bars, Lachavious Simmons, Arlington Hambright, Rashad Coward, who's entering his second year as a right guard, Badara Traore. There's some interesting names there, and I didn't even mention Jason Spriggs at right tackle as well. I'm going to go with Jermaine Fetty. You know what? He played tackle for most of his career. Had 1 year playing guard in 2016 in Seattle. Was that year pretty? Absolutely not. But that being said, he's back at his position. He's got Juan Castillo in Chicago, someone who apparently loved Ifedi, even though there was a lot of hate for him from Seattle fans. So I'm going to go with Ifedi. I think he can surprise us in training camp and maybe take home this starting right guard position. So I'm going to go with Jermaine Ifedi. Jaylen, what do you think as far as the offensive line goes?
I'm going to go with Alex Bars.
Knew it.
He was... Huh?
I said I knew it.
Oh, why wouldn't I go with him? He's a Notre Dame alum. But I'm going to go with Alex Bars. Last year was his rookie season, and he got cut. And I feel like the only reason why he didn't really get to make the roster because he didn't have an opportunity to. I still feel like it's definitely a hole at right guard. I'm not a big fan of Jermaine Fetty. And if Alex Bars can show his versatility, he can play both guard and tackle position. And the only reason he fell undrafted is because he tore his ACL in his senior season at Notre Dame. But I definitely expect big things from him.
Parth, what do you think? Which offensive lineman do you think can surprise us in training camp?
I can go with Charles Leno Jr. I think 2019, 2020, last year was a terrible year for Leno. Lots of penalties, lots of holding calls, and just a lot of missed blocks. But in 2018, he was a Pro Bowler. He was playing really well that year. I feel like if he can get back to that or even play similar to that, this would be a huge jump for this offensive line. I think he needs to do that, especially last year the running game was terrible because he wasn't good. Neither was the rest of the offensive line. Same with the passing offense. So if he can play like 2018 and get back to that groove, it'll be a huge boost for this team.
Heading on to the defensive side of the ball, we're going to start with the safety position. Starting strong safety right now is locked in to be Deshaun Gibson Sr. Free safety, obviously, our guy Eddie Jackson. Looking a little bit further down, there's three more safeties. DeAndre Houston Carson, Deion Bush, and Sherrick McManus, who is technically a free safety. I'm going to start off by saying I think Eddie Jackson is going to surprise some people this training camp. Eddie Jackson is back at his natural free safety position. We all know what he does there. There's not much more to say. I don't really need to talk about his stats. He's a beast. I think he's going to go back to his natural position and be able to thrive, and I think he's going to be ready to have another All-Pro and Pro Bowl year here in 2020. So I'm going to go with Eddie Jackson. Not really surprising us, but showing out big time heading into the training camp in his fourth. What do you think, Jaylen?
I'm gonna go with Eddie Jackson here. Like you said, I don't think he's gonna surprise us, but he's gonna show why he's one of the best safeties in the NFL. You basically hit all the main stuff I was gonna talk about, so I'm gonna go with Eddie Jackson right here too. It's not really any safeties on the roster that can really surprise us, I guess. Now that Jordan Lucas opted out.
What do you think, Parth? Are we in consensus here?
I'm going to change it up a little bit and go with Deion Bush. I think Deion Bush has a really good chance to surprise a lot of people. We did sign Tashawn Gibson, but if anything goes wrong with Tashawn or Eddie Jackson, which I hope it doesn't, But like if anything does, I think Deion Bush is a great plug-in player. Chuck Pagano talked very highly of him, and so did Vic Fangio. So I think both of them. I mean, I think Deion Bush can make a huge surprise for the team.
Yeah, that's definitely another good choice. Someone who sat behind the likes of Adrian Amos, HaHa Clinton Dix, and Eddie Jackson for years. Deion Bush definitely ready to step up into a little bit bigger of a role in 2020, obviously, if he's going to be behind Deshaun Gibson. Heading to the cornerback position, we've got some interesting options here. Kyle Fuller, Buster Screen, Jaylen Johnson, Artie Burns, Kevin Tolliver, Duke Shelley, Michael Joseph, and Kendall Vildor. I'm going to start this one off by saying Jaylen Johnson, I think, is going to surprise us for sure. I think I know who Jaylen's going to say after this, but I'm going to go with the second-round pick out of Utah. You know what? I think if he's healthy, he's going to be able to earn this Week 1 start. I wouldn't mind if it was Kevin Tolliver, but that being said, I think Jaylen Johnson, just watching his tape, is ready for the big leagues. He's got a nice drop. He's got great extension to be able to block balls. I think he's really ready to play at a professional level, so I'm going to go with Jaylen Johnson. Passing it down to another Jaylen McClinton. What do you think? Which cornerback's going to show out here at training camp?
I'm going KT2, Kevin Tolliver. You should already know this by now. Every time we talk about the cornerback position, I'm going to bring him up. This is his third year. Probably the first season that he actually has an opportunity to start now that Prince Amukamara is gone. I think it's definitely going to be a good competition between him and Jaylen Johnson for that cornerback too. But since it's going to be no preseason and this is Jaylen Johnson's first year in the defense, I feel like Kevin Tolliver has an edge coming into it. So I think it's going to surprise a lot of us being that second corner opposite Kyle Fuller.
All right, unfortunately we lost Parth there, but we're now heading on to the linebacker position. This is a pretty easy one for me. There's so many great choices. You know, you can consider guys like Khalil Mack and even Robert Quinn as linebackers in a sense, but I'm going to go with Roquan Smith. I think year 3 is the year that Roquan really does break out and make the Pro Bowl. I've said that for a while now. He was looking to have a beast year last year. If it weren't for him getting hurt towards the end of the season, he had 101 combined tackles in 12 games, he was set to shatter his record from 2018. Long story short, I think Roquan's going off here in 2020, and I think he sets career numbers. So I think he pops out in training camp, and I think he continues that throughout the season. What do you think, Jaylen?
I couldn't agree anymore. Roquan's, in my opinion, top 10 linebacker. Coming into this season, if he can improve and stay healthy, which is his main problem, which was his main problem last year, is staying healthy. I feel like he's definitely going to be top 3, top 5 linebacker this year.
Finally, heading to the defensive line, we've got a lot of great options here. Akeem Hicks, John Jenkins stepping in at the nose tackle position, Bilal Nichols, guys like Brent Urban, Roy Robertson-Harris, LaCal London, Abdul Anderson. I'm going to go with Roy Robertson-Harris. You know, he's played 44 games during his time in Chicago since 2017. The Bears lost that rotational edge rusher that they were looking for in Nick Williams. Obviously drafted Trevis Gibson in the 5th round. But that being said, I think it's a year where Roy Rob's going to step up, and he really did step up and has stepped up since his time in Chicago began. Last year, 2.5 sacks, 30 tackles, 10 QB hits. I think he continues on his success in training camp, carries it into the season with a little bit bigger of a role. I'm going to go with him as the defensive lineman to step up here in training camp. Jaylen, close this one off. What do you think? Which D lineman's going to step up big?
To switch it up, I'm going to go with Trevis Gibson here, rookie out of Tulsa. He's going to be a rotational edge piece, like you said. He's going to come in and on certain packages and hopefully get to the quarterback. I feel like he can be our Roy Robertson-Harris, just a little bit younger, because that's what Roy's been doing for the seasons he's been here with us, but he really hasn't got a chance to break out. So I'm going to go with Trevis Gibson here.
Well, that was definitely an extra long episode of Uncut. Thank you guys for tuning into episode 62. If you want more content from us, do us a favor, head over to our website, beareddown.com. You can find content from all of us there, columns, articles, and blogs. We're grinding out stuff every week on there. If you are on social media and would like to follow the podcast, you can do us a favor and head over to Instagram and Twitter and find us at Beared Down. And you can also find a link to me, Jaylen, and Parth's Instagram fan pages down in the description. Jaylen McClinton, been a while since we recorded. Feels good to be back. Any last words?
Hopefully you can stay back. We do this a lot. We record one episode and don't record for like a week or something like that. So hopefully it's time for us to get back on the grind. I know we're about to start school soon, but yeah, that's about it. Stay safe, and football season's back. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Uploads have been a little bit inconsistent recently, but that being said, the closer we get to the season, the closer it's going to get to our middle of the off-season coverage where it's every day, every other day. And I'm real excited to see how the season pans out, so let's hope it continues to trend upwards, and let's hope it happens. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. Thank you for listening to us today. Bears fans, do us a favor. As always, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.